Hello, everyone. It is 4 o'clock on Sunday, October 10th. And I know it's been a good week, but so much has been going on here at my house that I had to wait. I promise I'll start coming on more often. Okay. Oh, gosh, so much is happening in the world, too, right? I mean, and it adds up to something. And usually, since there's nothing new under the sun, history tends to repeat itself. So we can look for the warning signs, right? And if you didn't think history was interesting in school, boy, is it just, what's it called? It's mind blowing now. It's alarming, even, right? Hello, JB the jeweler. Welcome, sweetheart. I'm so glad to have you here. Okay. Hello, sunshine. Good to have you, sweetheart. Welcome, everybody. As usual, I hope you hit like. I hope you like the live streams, okay? And don't forget to share out the videos. Dan Vincent, welcome. Hello, Susie. Oh, I'm so glad to see everybody. So y'all want to hear what's going on? Alrighty, let's do this. Alrighty, okay. Bank run, is history repeating itself? It might very well be. We're going to start off with something simple. Google's definition of bank run. Very simple. A bank run occurs when large groups of depositors withdraw their money from banks simultaneously based on fears that the institution will become insolvent. All right, let's take a look back. 1929, Hoover was president. Buying into the stock market was something everybody could do. And right now, we can we can invest our money into different things like, say, Bitcoin. Yes, people can invest in the stock market also. But they seem to be on a buying high. They seem to be doing pretty well. And it also seemed like a too big to fail kind of thing. Everybody could make money. Everybody's going to live large. And even worse, you didn't even have to have money because the banks would loan you money to invest. They called it margin loans. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what they called it, margin loans. Okay, the banks would loan you the money to invest, but guess where they got the money from? The people that were depositing money into their banks. So the banks would loan you the money. Everyone could make money. People even mortgaged their homes and their businesses. And right now, pretty much everybody has to mortgage their homes and businesses. Very few people actually own their own property. Okay, talking deed, title, owned. All right, am I correct? So when you have a lot of people that have a lot of loans out, right, into certain investments, okay, that should be somewhat of a warning sign. We've got a lot of that too. We've got a lot of loans out, right? People aren't paying their bills. They're not paying off their loans, okay? At the same time, their market was flooded with cheap products. Then there was a sudden stock selling panic. We're seeing stock problems. We're going to get into all of this later, but we're just going to go over the history lesson of it. The loans that were given to regular people were suddenly called in for immediate payment, and they couldn't do it. So we had this crash. 1 year later, according to Google and Wikipedia, because I'm quoting this, banking panics began in 1930, a year later. In the southern United States in November of 1930, just a year after the crash, triggered by the collapse of a string of banks in Tennessee and Kentucky, which brought down their correspondent networks. What are we seeing the last couple of years, y'all? Banks closing branch after branch. Hello, Clarissa and Mark Rufner. Hello, Have Crazy. I'm so glad to see you too. Welcome. Jesus is coming. Good. Everybody. My doctor says they can't treat me because of CDC guidelines, and I didn't take that. I just have an upper chest infection. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. Drinking a lot of water actually helps with a lot of the chest congestion. You might want to take some of those decongestants too. if it helps at all, but lots of water will help you. Okay. All right. Let's keep going because I don't want to get off the tangent, right? All right. So there was a string of banks closing. Okay, it brought down their corresponding networks. This was at least in part due to risky margin loans. That's what I was trying to, margin loans. I think I was right when I said that. They were risky, made the year prior to regular people like farmers, etc. Missed loan payments contributed to the bank problems. Bank problems caused confidence in banks to fail. Failing banks caused the bank runs. So consumer confidence plays a big factor. Okay, the news spread across America, which caused more panic and more bank runs and more bank failures. 600 banks were shut in the last 2 months of 1930. Failing consumer confidence is a repeating theme during these times. Okay, so right now we got a lot more than 600 banks, don't we? In modern day, this year, 2021, there was an article on January 11th that said banks are shuttering branches left and right. March 26th, all this is from this year. Towns reel as banks close branches at record pace. April 23rd. 3 major banks plan more branch closings as thousands shutter in U.S. and U.K. amid the CB problem and digital growth. July 1st. Banks continue to close thousands of branches. October 1st. 2 articles on October 1st. First Financial announces branch closing. Same day, Wells Fargo closing 22 more branches nationwide. October 8th. Doors closed for final time at 88 branch of Ireland banks. Question when I was Googling some of these things, one of the questions is like one of those questions that you can pop down on, it's already there with the answer. And one of the questions was, are banks going to fail in 2021? So I thought, well, this is interesting. The answer was U.S. banks are bracing for worsening credit quality in 2021. That means your credit, your ability to take out a loan is not looking so good. As long as the pandemic remains active, triggering new lockdown orders and weighing on consumer confidence. Another key word, repeating itself. Bank failures spiked after the Great Recession. I imagine that they were talking about the 2008 one. Bank failures spiked after the Great Recession, but have been rare in recent years. All right, let's go to the comments for just a second, see what everybody's saying. Okay. Good for you. I'm so happy, Dan. I'm so glad you're feeling better. CDC is lying to many people are falling for their evil fear tactics. Oh, well, speaking of the CDC, they came out with a warning for this flu season. Now, some of you might remember from my earlier live streams, I said, watch this flu season. If people don't start dropping dead because they're compromised, then I'll be shocked. Well, the CDC does not want us to be shocked, but they want us to believe it's for a certain reason. Now, why this flu season would be any different from any other flu season that we typically know how to treat at home ourselves would be the question that you should be asking yourself. But let's go ahead and read that article super fast. Hey, Fiddlesticks, so glad to have you here, sweetie. Okay, it was an article that came out 4 days ago titled, CDC Director Warns the U.S. is at risk of a severe flu season this year. I wonder why. Okay, but because they're so nervous about it, they want you to go ahead and get your, you need to roll up your sleeve for their cootie stick. That's their answer for, the oncoming problem. More of that. But the article says Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, influenza experts are concerned that the U.S. could be at risk for a severe flu season this year. Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky warned Wednesday. That's because the U.S. population may now have reduced immunity against influenza after seasonal flu cases reached an all-time low last year when large parts of the nation were shut down. Okay. The flu cases went down, but somehow the cootie numbers went up. That was also a questionable thing for a lot of people, right? But you gotta really read these articles. During the 2021 flu season, there were very few flu cases, largely because of masking and physical distancing. All right, there were around 2,000 flu cases last year, so they're saying that it should be back with a vengeance this year, and they're just basically extremely concerned. So I see a two-part in this. I see that they do have a real fear that things could be worse, and I think I know why it really is. But this is the perfect opportunity to cause that fear in people to continue to not be so hesitant. Thank you so much, Sunshine. Thank you. All y'all are so awesome. Okay, that's the CDC. So, I mean, when you think about how bad it is, and as far as how many, we have a worker shortage. There are people dying that aren't able to get these jobs now. They're not able to fill the roles that they did for one reason or another. Lots and lots of people are dying or becoming disabled or just plain older. Okay, so the more people that drop, the worse this is going to get. The harder and harder it's going to be to fill those positions. Okay, we can X out of that super fast, but that's just to add to everything that's going on. So right now we're talking about the banks, and everything contributes to that, right? So then on top of that, you realize that Biden is eyeing our bank accounts for anything 600 and over in deposits, not the weird 10 million, $12 million deposits that you don't know. No, he wants $600. He wants to know. Now, that in itself is going to cause a lack of deposits to start happening for these banks, which could also cause more problems with banks being able to run business as usual. You see what I'm saying? And it can also cause a loss of confidence in the banking system because people can see that their money is being eyed. Their own money is being eyed while they're printing and printing and printing. The stimulus, the checks they gave you, they printed so much that they're absolutely worthless. And a lot of people that got them didn't pay off any debts. They created more debt. There were credit card applications, and I saw them myself. You can get this loan, you can get that loan from everybody. They're trying to secure invisible money for the future. They're just trying any way they can. But in doing that, they're making the problem worse, and they're causing consumers to see it and know that they're having trouble. So this little $600 eyeballing thing, it's really not good. If the stock market continues to crash, and it is crumbling, we can see just the fray and the edges happening, that can trigger bank runs. Now, this by itself is a real problem. We're seeing bank outages and services in several countries worldwide. System failure, okay? It can be due to cyber hacking, which cyber hacking is happening, but it can happen for natural disasters. It can happen because they're upgrading their system. It can happen for a lot of different reasons that the entire system can go down, multiple systems as far as Amazon, Instagram, Facebook, your bank, it can all go down. So that means you can't go to the ATM, take out the money. Okay. And then when you're looking at it, yeah, we've had these outages. It appears to be global. And then Evergrande in China, it's still an issue, and it's spreading like a virus. There's woes. It's like a plague from the third horseman or something, or maybe the second plague, the second horseman. Economic woes. That would be the second word. All right. Yes, that's the second one. All right. So say one day, due to hacking, economic collapses, and shortages, you attempt to use your debit or credit card, and all the networks are down. Can't get your groceries. And or maybe your bank is folded, or even a stock market collapse. What if the electricity is off? No credit cards can be swiped. A bank run could be in the future. Okay? If you don't have cash on you, that could be a problem. The way things are going, even if you have the money lately, it doesn't mean you'll even be able to get what it is you're looking for. And, I mean, it seems somewhat unrelated, but it's really not. Biden warns economic disaster is days away. He did that last week. It was last week, if I'm not mistaken. But this is due to Congress and debt limit issues. See, they're so bankrupt and so desperate for the God that they worship that they're looking to take from you. They're talking about economic disaster because they can't raise their debt limit, and they can't stop the out of control spending. Okay, let's look at the comments for just a second. Hello, B Ran. It's good to see you. Good to see everybody. Hope I didn't miss saying hello to anybody. Okay. Hello, B Ran. God bless you. India is also CV free. Oh, that's awesome. India's having some problems too, though, on a different level. Oh, Lordy. Okay. All right. So if the government is having problems because they spend more than they make, and certain governments aren't able to pay their interest, loans, their debts, shipping's breaking down, businesses are closing that the government would usually tax, but that tax money's gone because those businesses no longer exist and will never come back. Okay? You think about that. What do you think? I mean, the banks are stuck in between a rock and a hard place right now. Okay? Where was I? Did I go down too far? Yep. Okay. So I was looking at these articles. Central banks are worried. All right, just 3 days ago, they wrote worried about no, I don't want to read that one. 18 hours ago, central banks are worried that inflation is staying for longer. This is just 18 hours ago. Central bankers are spooked by signs that inflation is lingering for longer. Many central banks are starting to withdraw the emergency stimulus they introduced to fend off last year's pandemic recession. With inflation accelerating, the Federal Reserve is set to slow its asset purchase program, while peers in Norway, Brazil, Mexico, South Korea, and New Zealand are among those to have already raised interest rates. As a little chart here for what has happened to the interest rate. Hike in 2021, cut in 2022. All right. Behind the shift are signs that the recent inflation scare won't fade soon amid supply chain strains, surging commodity prices, post-lockdown demand, ongoing stimulus, and labor shortages. Complicating the task for policymakers is that growth may be slowing, prompting some to warn of a stagflationary light environment. Is that really a word? Stagflationary. Ooh. That puts central bankers in a bind as they debate which risk they should prioritize. Target inflation with tighter monetary policy, blah, 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 blah. But it looks like they're concerned, all right? And there's more articles than like that. You just scroll down, and they're all talking about rising inflations, why governments are wary of Bitcoin. Central banks are considering digital currencies. Central banks worry that some tech giants have become too big. China's central bank is quite worried about some digital something or another. I'm not clicking on these, but it just goes on and on and on. These are about central banks, not just your regular bank branches. Thank you so much, Paula. God bless you. Thank you so much. Everything is appreciated. You guys, all of you are appreciated. When I know I've got money in my bank account because I just checked it, but the store claims I have nothing in my account, first thing that comes to mind is the credit union robbed me. That's right, Clarissa. You know, when mine doesn't go through, I'm like, no, I know I have money in the bank. I know I do. Okay, 500,000 ships off both coasts. That's a lot. They're trying to unload them as fast as they can for what I'm reading, but they're talking. This is going to go on for a while. We'll talk more about that soon. Okay, there's also an article about Asian stocks fall to near 1 year low as oil rally fuels inflation fears. Now, this is where I start introducing you to the next level of why you should be watching this and being concerned, because fuel, not just the fuel shortage, but the fuel inflation is going to cause problems with the stock markets, the banks, everything. Okay, but look, Asian stocks fall to near 1 year lows as oil rally fuels inflation fears. We're looking for an energy crunch in the middle of winter this year. Things are starting to look really scary. Asian stock markets declined to multi-month lows. Benchmark index slips for third straight session. Rising energy prices rattle markets. Singapore, October 5th. Asian shares tracked a broad sell-off on Wall Street to weaken for a third straight session on Tuesday, as investors feared oil prices hitting multi-year highs would add to inflationary pressures caused by supply chain disruptions. U.S. and European stock futures edged up, with S&P 500 E-minis rising 0.01%. I'm not going to read all of that. But the point is, you're going to have to watch stocks and fuel together because they affect each other. And right now, when it comes to fuel, we can lose out a lot. You lose out on businesses like your groceries. You can't get to work. Your nurses can't get to the hospitals. Your ambulances can't get to you. Certain life-saving equipment will not be functional. You know, freezers for your food, things like that. Unless you have backup. But anyway, we also have money printing being the issue. We brought that up a minute ago. And then we have to look at this. You know, we do have crop problems, but, you know, because of all of the volcanoes going off, part of the reason we might be having such a brutal winter is because we're going to have a volcanic winter. That would be part of the problem. See, we got La Palma, Etna, Kilauea, and a whole bunch of other ones, right? Okay. That will affect your crops. That's going to affect your roads, if it gets too cold, you can have, again, iced up power lines, places that generate energy that are not winterized yet will freeze up again, okay? And even if they're not froze up, the lines in a lot of cases might be down, okay? And so we've got this race to secure fuel for a bitter winter, and guess what happens to put the cherry on top? Massive oil leak off of the California coast. That is just the last thing we needed. Just besides the fact that it's destroying our world, that even the animals are suffering already as it is, but now we've got an oil leak. I'm just reading some of the comments. Okay. All right. Looks like y'all are kind of talking among yourself. God bless you too, Mark Rufner. Okay. All right. I'm just going to let you chat over here while I keep going. Okay. So this brought up a question for me. Do you remember any of y'all who watched maybe Kim Clement's videos? Didn't he once say that there'd be a new source of energy coming and nobody be able to believe it happened? I'm sitting here going, well, if it's going to happen, this might be the days where it might happen. If this is going to happen, I'm talking about Kim Clement's prophecy real quick, but he did say about a new source of energy. I hope we find it. But in the meantime, fertilizer plants are even shutting down over a lack of ammonia to manufacture manure the way that they do. It affects crops, along with unfavorable farming conditions that are not helping the situation anyway, besides the fact now we can't get the fertilizer the way we'd like it, the way we were able to at any time before. No. But see, crop loss even affects the fuel. because, we have certain crops that feed into producing fuel for us. So we've got an oil shortage and a crop issue. Businesses are shutting down. And the more that happens, the worse the worse everything is going to get. We won't have the money that can be taxed. We won't have the tax money for federal disaster relief. We won't have the tax money that props up anything here in the United States. The money just won't be there. There's no businesses. There's nobody to work for them. There's less and less trucks being driven. You see what I'm saying? The business is going out of business is bad. All right. I was looking at what's been going on with that. And just over the last month, right? Articles after article, list of retail company bankruptcies and closing stores. They have a list. Okay. JCPenney closing more stores after bankruptcy. Sears closing final big store in home state. As workers stay at home due to CV, downtown businesses to find other way to boost sales. A lot of people are ready to go out. Kmart. No, we're not going to talk about Kmart. That's a Wikipedia thing. Dollar stores hit a pandemic downturn. Everything going the wrong way. Their business model is being tested by worker burnout, pressure to raise wages. Okay? I'm just reading through some of these. Harris Teeter closed grocery stores early, citing labor issues. Can't run a grocery store if you don't have people to work in it. And you can't go shopping at that grocery store if it's closed. Okay? All right. Okay, so that was that. China banks are unable to make loan payments. It's turning into a global issue. Inflation and price rises, an issue. That means that that's why you're seeing $10 a gallon of gas in some places, where you might find that your bacon for a few pieces is $15. And it's supposed to get worse. Okay? If there was more of the product, then maybe they'd be able to lower the prices. But everything is short, and there's a high demand, and that's economics. High demand and low supply equals higher prices. So it's not just inflation. It's the shortages of even workers playing roles into this. The domino effect of multiple crises, shortages on all things are expected through the whole of 2022, going into 23, and maybe even beyond. Talk about brace yourselves, huh? Food and supply shortages. The energy crisis is growing. It can hinder access to online banking services, extending to ATMs, as well as being able to heat your home, cool your home, keep your groceries at a decent temperature, or even prescription drugs in your fridge that need to be kept at a certain temperature. It's going to affect all of that. So even in a pharmacy with a grid down, we can lose a lot of the pharmaceuticals that are in the fridge. Okay. Shipping crisis could cause sales and profits to nosedive, affecting the banks. Labor shortages are affecting shipping and businesses. Oil and gas shortages and price inflation is causing the Asian stock market decline. And then Lebanon's electrical grid just went down yesterday. Isn't that a sign for what's really coming? Europe is having a worsening energy crisis before winter even starts. Some experts believe that it is at least caused by central banks and crooked politicians. Now, you see how the bank keeps looping into all this? It's all connected. Energy, stock market, central banks, fuel, stock market, banks. It all comes back to these banks. Okay, but look, yeah, Europe having a worsening energy crisis that they believe is caused by the banks. They better pump some money into that. They better figure it out. Then there's India. Okay, so this wasn't just China or America. No, we got India and even Canada. That needs to watch for their energy crunch this year. India is facing the energy crisis due to coal shortages, just like China. China decided it no longer has a problem with Australian coal, though, and actually unloaded Australian coal that was stranded at some ports. Russia says it can help Europe with gas shortages for a price. Trade route is more expensive, you see, so it's going to cost more money, but we can help. Oh, I bet Russia's chomping at the bit. They're trying to convince Russia not to price gouge anybody, but we'll see what happens with that. Canadians will have higher heating bills due to price hikes in natural gas. No fuel, no business or banking. No fuel, no travel or shipping, no hospitals, no staff, no groceries. We've got to figure out as citizens how to sustain ourselves like our great grandparents did before there was even electricity. Okay, we have to learn our land. We have to learn how to build, work with wood, handheld tools, our own sweat and grit. Okay, we're gonna have to use our noggins here. That's not a joke, because otherwise, a lot of people are gonna starve. A lot. And whatever people are able to grow anything, you're gonna end up having to make some kind of community just so you can have a staff to guard your garden from people that want to loot you. Okay, desperate people do desperate things. Okay, but let me give you some advice. All right, especially if all of a sudden you notice that Social Security checks aren't coming on time. They may be still coming, but they're not coming on time. That's a warning sign. So before that even happens, I'm going to give you some advice from my family that's very, very old advice, but it still works today. Never put all your eggs in one basket. Okay? So maybe you have some cash, maybe you have some seeds, maybe you have this and that. You might have some money over here in the bank, but don't have all of your money in the bank. Don't have all of your stashed money in one place. You need to have different things going on, like say, an investment for me money-wise was some solar backup. See? So in a way, I've got money stashed because I've got solar backup. I invested in something that can help sustain me while there is still time. The second piece of advice is never give anyone anything that will hurt you to lose, and that includes the banks. So, yeah, you don't want to just suddenly go panic and grab everything out of your bank account, because that can cause serious problems. That can cause a horrible depression. But you don't want to leave more in there that will actually hurt you to lose. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to lose $60,000, $100,000 out of your bank account because something happened, because you were cyber hacked or the bank closed down, or I don't know. Anything can happen. So make sure that you have some kind of plan B. Your go bags, everything. Put money in the tangible assets. That's right. You're going to have to really open your eyes to who your real friends are and who they are not. You see what I'm saying? The best friend that you can be right now is to keep spreading the awareness about the solar and the Mr. Buddy heaters. And the Mr. Buddy heaters, they sold out already. Everybody got wind of it from last year, the Texas blizzard, and people figured out, whoa. But see, as long as we are looking at oil and propane, butane, gas shortages, then even that might be hard to attain in time. But we'll have to cross that road when we get there. I don't think that we'll be like completely out of electricity all winter long, but a few days can kill quite a lot of people. And say the banks fold, the stock market crashes, we will have something working for us other than, oh my God, we're renting. We don't even own our own car. We lost all our money. You see what I'm saying? Hello, Adrian. Welcome. Hello, Paul. So good to see you guys. Propane shortage is coming. Yeah, Canada is really one of those. Hello, Grumpy Troll. Welcome. There's no Russia, no China, no USC. There's us and them. It's getting there. Yeah, I agree with you. Yep. And if you're looking at petroleum, oil, kind of guess, you'd also have shortages and, that stuff that carbonizes your soda waters. You would have shortages on your Vaseline. You would have shortages in plastics also, because all of this comes from petroleum-based things, okay? The fact that we have to buy any of these resources from another country is, I think, insane. Okay, I'm just kind of reading through some of these. Looks like a lot of y'all had your, okay. So I hope you're ready for winter. And I hope you just don't put all your faith in the bank. Don't take all your money out, because that can actually hurt. But I also wanted you to be able to be aware of the situation and the circumstances that can be occurring right before something like this happens. So just be careful. They have more regulations in place right now than they did back in 1929 and 1930. Which means they really have a lot more red tape. They don't keep your money in the bank. What they do is they keep only a percentage of your money in the bank, and they invest the rest into stock markets and things that they think might do well. But everything else in the world that's breaking down is telling us nothing is about, there won't be much that survives. Things are changing. All right, I'm going to make sure I didn't miss anything at all. Yep, Canadians will have a higher heating bills due to price hikes. Yep. So you see, this is a worldwide thing. System failure to the max. When kerosene for lamps, lamp oil will be hard to find eventually. That's right. Well, he's definitely not acting like our friend, is he, Dan? Yeah. Welcome, Ann Cameron, Jessica Albert. Good to see everybody. Good. Well, this actually will be the end of the live stream today, and I do promise to be on here more often. It's just my daughter's 18th birthday was actually this week, and it's been a pretty big deal for us over here. And just keep praying. God's going to take care of us. He's going to get us through the storm, because the perfect storm is here. It's a perfect storm of all the right circumstances getting ready to hit all at once. But God is going to be our umbrella. He's going to be our shepherd. He's going to get us through the fire, and we'll be refined in it, okay? So God bless you all. I want to thank you all for coming. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.